But in Asia today, with China, there seems to be some feelings that China is slowing, and Japan has, certainly hasn't been the most active investment market over the last 10 years. How do you see the impact of China overall on your business and on the investment business today?
Well, I agree with the first part of what you said, which is Asia is not my wheelhouse, but but Asia is driving so much of the financial markets, supply of capital, and the macroeconomy that it's in everybody's wheelhouse, because the China growth story has been what's kept, I think, the Western economies from falling off a cliff over the last couple of years, and so slowing down in China's growth is a meaningful set of questions. My own view, which is a macroeconomic view, is pretty hard to really understand what's happening, because so much of the story is political in China and the stability underneath it, but it doesn't feel like it's falling off a cliff, at least from my perspective over here, in terms of a fundamental economy and a political system that seems pretty well designed to manage a very large economy with some very strong fundamentals going for it. So beyond that, I would say China's a big source of capital for very high quality transactions. I mean, the Chinese sovereign wealth funds, the Asian, the Koreans as well, you didn't mention. But throughout Asia, there's a great surplus of capital, which has certainly been a factor at the margin, both in the debt and the equity markets here and in Europe. The Chinese are important players and important capital sources, both indirectly through sort of managed fund vehicles and through, on a direct basis, when it comes to trophy real estate. They are one of the categories of buyers one thinks of when you have a truly extraordinary asset in one of the great cities, and when you need to raise very large amounts of private capital. And so they're one of the stops in your jet-lagged trips around the world, trying to drum up. When we represented Simon in our discussions with General Growth, there was a $10 billion capital raise in the private markets to backstop what was going to be a big bid. A very valuable company, and a considerable part of that was coming from Asia, Australia, China, et cetera. So they're big factors when you need big money. What's the China factor today? Hard to say. I think much of the U.S. real estate market at the moment is focused on the fact that our own economy seems to be very modestly growing, but certainly not falling apart, with very low interest rates, which feels like a pretty benign environment to invest in the U.S., and as long as China doesn't fall off a cliff, shouldn't hurt us too much here. This will be benign until it's not, but at the moment, I'd say China, while it's much talked about in the press, doesn't feel like it's having a huge, or Japan either, a huge impact on the markets that we sort of transact in every day here or in Europe.